Hi, I'm Mario Guerra, the two-time former mayor of the great city of Downey. And you're watching this special episode of Talking Downey from Candidate to Gadfly. So welcome. This could be a short episode. Something that happened last night at a council meeting and something that happened a couple of weeks ago at a planning commission meeting brings me up to say this. And I normally would have let it go, but this person has made it his mission to, spread lies about me and certain things. So there's a gentleman by the name of Ernesto Valle. Okay, so Ernesto Valle was a candidate last election in District 2. He's the gentleman that on the closing day ceremony of Northwest Downey Little League, he spoke for 45 minutes. He announced his candidacy for city council. So all these poor families and kids had to sit there and listen to him talking about his candidacy. So anyways, going forward, he's the one that wants the 5-story parking lot at Furman Park with the tennis courts on top. And his very first thing was that he wanted the kids thrown out of Downey Unified that don't live in the city of Downey, which of course he was running for council. The city has no purview over the school district, and the school district would argue that those families are so important to our school district. So those are some of the position points. And then when he ran, it came out that he had only voted once or twice in 10 elections on there, so he wasn't even doing his civic duty. I say all this to kind of set up, because in that election he came in third place. Dorothy Pemberton won it, and he came in third place. So ever since this, Miss Pemberton reached out and was very nice about it and appointed him to her Public Works Commissioner. And that's great. Goodwill gesture, Miss Pemberton. So a few weeks ago at a planning commission meeting, Mr. Valle comes and kind of during public comment and kind of announces himself as, a man of the people. He's representing the people from Public Works, and he wanted to talk about that Olsen Homes and the island, the Treasure Island. But he repeated something that another Gadfly had just mentioned, that one of you there on the dais doesn't even live in the city of Downey. And the 5 of us planning commissioners kind of looked at each other, because it's a law that we have to live in the city of Downey. More importantly, we even have to live in our districts. And I was proudly appointed by the Mayor Pro Tem, and I proudly represent District 2. So at the end of the meeting, when I asked, who is he talking about, Ms. Huatran, the development director, she says, well, they're talking about me, that I don't live in the city of Downey. We all kind of laugh, because you don't need to live in the city of Downey if you're an employee. But Mr. Valle was insinuating that in her personal life, she was opposed to a different project in the city she lives in, which has nothing to do with this. It's apples and oranges. So going for it, and then after the meeting, he got into Ms. Huatran's face a little bit and was trying to explain things. So after the meeting, I'm talking outside, talking to all the residents of Treasure Island, which I've known for a long time. I helped them build the Treasure Island Park when I was mayor, and I've had a great relationship. Most of them were giving me hugs and so forth. So afterwards, Mr. Valle comes like, can I speak to you? And I maybe it was my fault for starting. I'm like, yeah, I have to go though, but okay. So he starts telling me about Miss Huatran, how terrible this is, that she doesn't live in the city, and how hypocritical. And I kind of sarcastically says, I don't care. Well, you should care. I go, well, I don't. Well, don't you care that she opposed something where she lives and now wants to bring a condo project here? I'm like, no, we don't know anything about that particular one on there compared to this. Do you? I mean, none of us know that. And it's kind of irrelevant to me what a staff does in their personal life, as long as it's legal, moral, et cetera, it doesn't reflect on their decisions here. So I'm all, I wanted to make sure that he and everybody else knows that she has our full support. Anyways, because, well, I represent the residents of District 3, and I go, really? From the Public Works Committee? And I thought Ms. Pemberton represents them. And he didn't like that. He goes, well, I had lunch with the Olsen folks, and great. And he's trying to tell me all these things. I go, thank you. I don't care. I just don't care at this time. When it comes up before the Planning Commission, then we'll have a dialogue then. And he gets right in my face and he says, "You're a piece of shit." And folks, obviously the meeting was over. So I walked away and he followed me. And I went to the two planners that I've been overhearing from our staff. And he came over behind me and still talking loud. And I'm like, if he continues to follow me out, I'm going to ask for a police escort outside. Anyways, so that was really the end of it. So fast forward to last night, he gets up there. Ms. Pemberton chose somebody else, Mia Vasquez, to replace him on her committee as one of her public works committee, she's great. Mia's amazing. She's been with the Seroptimus. Her dad served in that position. So I had nothing to do with it. But when she told me who she was picking, I'm like, that's fantastic. And she was voted in last night. So last night at the city council, he comes up and he's the very first speaker. And he wants to say that, Dorothy replaced him because of his interaction with me, which couldn't be further from the truth. It was basically he was on another committee and you need to give somebody else a fair chance, and so forth. So, but then he goes on and repeats that it's because of Mario Guerra and that piece of shit. And he says, I called him that. And folks, let me just say this, okay? I have never in my life called anybody that. I just don't. I think it's immature and childish. I have better words. Maybe I'll call them, disingenuous or a liar or something else. But a piece of shit just isn't in my vocabulary. But he kept using that. And he said that I called him that. And so we know he's lying. But anyways, how it all started. But then he said some things pretty interesting. He says I was a coward and a bully, and so forth, and he wasn't going to be intimidated. And it's like, folks, I get it. I can be considered a bully sometimes because my wife called it passionate, because I'm passionate and I want to get things done and I want to move things forward and I want to do what I think is right for everyone and make sure we bring people together. So I can see that my personality is not for everyone. You either love me or you hate me, and hopefully I have more in the love area than the hate. But I'm not a coward, okay? I'm just not a coward. And I thought that was really disrespectful but uncalled for. And people that were there last night at the council meeting, like, who is this crazy man? And why is he there? And this is the guy with this record once they find out about it. So I just wanted to make this record, set this record straight, because he mentioned the podcast. The biggest reason on there, he said I said something about him on the podcast, which we had him last year on when he was a candidate, and he kept talking and really didn't say anything. But we were very nice and open about it, So I just wanted to set the record straight to Mr. Valle. If you're watching this, you technically are a Gadfly now, but you know what? It's unfortunate. So I just want to go on. I want to set the record straight. I don't call people names. I don't need to call people names. Anyways, I just wanted to set the record straight for those of you that were there last night that called me and told me how disappointed they were in him. And there was a lot, and it was public. Right? So I listened to it, and when I heard him say all those things, and he was the very first one out of 20 speakers. Anyways, so from candidate to Gadfly, the story continues. So anyways, folks, I hope you're listening. I'd welcome your thoughts and comments, and thank you. Let's go Downey.